Hey y'all, it's Matt Thomas here with MDE Outdoors. It's processing day here down in southwestern Pennsylvania. Had a successful season, got multiple does, nice buck tagged out yesterday. So today, after everything's kind of hung out, we're going to go ahead, got this all quartered out. Now we're going to debone this and get this ready for processing. So we can run on to shoulder. One of them shoulders. Get this cleaned up. Again, back to our torch. Turn that on. This method here, I prefer this over direct washing. Generally, when you add water to meat, it's not good. Now, you don't want to burn or singe the meat yourself. Start hearing sizzling and popping. That's not a good thing. So the shoulder, a little different. You got your joint here, you got your blade end here. Get some of this cap cleaned up. I just like to come in and start right up on the midline for it. There's some less than desirable pieces here and there on this cap. And that's great for the grind. You can make blade roasts out of this. They're pretty popular. A lot of different things like that. I kind of look at my meat, see what's what. Not a ton of tendon or anything in it. It can go right into the grind pile. So when you're getting into doing your blade roast, you want to get these trimmed up nice and clean. You can come down and there's a knuckle right through here. And this is your other side of your blade here. So again, I like to fillet these out. I may take a little bit more work into these just because of how little deer fat I like in my deer meat itself. But trim all that excess off. Watch, there's some glands and excess fat around the shoulder blade area here where the joints are. And you get you a nice piece of meat. Give it a light trim. Clean up any of that blood or dried stuff up from the day before from hanging. Take them chunks right into the pile. So make a small index cut there. So deboning this, you can feel there's a ridge bone that runs right along here. So there's two sections of meat here. Come in and find that joint, work that bone right down like so. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, in, and then bend your blade and come across the bottom of the shoulder blade itself. Come in and just keep peeling that meat away like that. Not real hard. You don't have to get in there, but there's a couple tendons in there, and that's why this is a great slow cooker piece of meat or for the grind. You can come in, see how clean the bone's coming out. Now you just come in and run that all the way up to the joint to where that relief cut was, and then follow to the bone, come back around. What you're going to see is bone coming in, and then flip. You can see your fat trim right there. I like to run my knife right inside there. That way I can peel it off. Kind of use the meat as a leverage point and clean that all up, and then come in here. So this was part of a shoulder shot on this deer, so this one here is going to take a little bit more work to clean it up. Want to get all that blood clot out of there that you possibly can. Clean that up real well. See, there's a little piece of interconnective muscle there. Get that all cleaned up. And just lightly fillet that around. And that's a scrap piece. That's a grind. Same thing with this. Come in, remove that silver skin. It's a very, very tough piece of connective tissue that doesn't get removed most of the time from butcher shops. So you want a more tender piece of meat, or you wonder why you don't have a tender piece of meat, 9 times out of 10 that's what it is. Your butcher shop's not gonna take the time, because they don't treat venison the same way they treat the beef. And you come in, clean this up, get this deboned. Got a couple small roasts, you can leave them on the blade if you choose so. If not, clean the silver skin off like before and continue on. Just trim that up real nice. Just like so. Got you some nice little chunks of meat there. Good for the grinder. You could make jerky out of it if you wanted to. I don't know a whole lot of people that do, unless you're tenderizing them for an extended period of time in the marinade. But it can most certainly be done. And you can have some nice chunks of meat, but usually this is a roast piece here, or straight for the grind. I got a few more of these to do here. Get these done and cleaned up real nice. And we'll be moving on to the grinder here before long. See the tendons coming in off of that there, how heavy that tendon is, and that tends to be incredibly chewy and very undesirable when it comes to your meat. Get this cleaned off. Put that in with your trim there. Keep your knife sharp every few minutes of cutting. You definitely want to get in here and get that cleaned up and sharpen back up. So come to the knuckle, start, follow your line down along that shoulder blade. Come right around. You follow the bone as your guide, and then you turn your knife out and away. You've caught part of that knuckle, and you flip it over, come right in here, right in on the back side, and trim all that excess meat away for your trim or your grind. And then this here, you just clean this up, use your knife and scrape this off. I'll trim it off on a little tiny piece there, and do it that way. Just making sure your meat's as clean as possible. Cut this down, move on from there. Alright, so got the majority of this off. You can kind of see the knuckle wanting to move. You can actually break this down in that joint. Joint's right there. Okay. Come in there, cut that connective tendon, and then cut away from yourself. And you can pull that right out. Break this down. And then break that right there. And you don't even have to saw anything off. Perfectly clean deer shoulder blade. You can turn around, take out, and you can put it on the smoker. Make some dog treats out of it if you wanted to. Clean up a little bit of excess trim on it if you feel you forgot something there. This is all mainly heavy tendon, so I generally, there's not enough meat to bother with it, so I don't mess with that too much. And then kind of follow the fat lines, chase that joint down, and then you can work your bone right back. Come in, cut that off. Find any of those heavy connective tendons, Get rid of them, and then make your cuts. So these here, a lot of people like to make an Asabuko or something along those lines. You can do these various ways. So generally, if I'm making an Asabuko or something along those lines, we're going to take these. I'm going to cut this completely off right where the heavy tendon comes into this. So you can see the heavy tendons there. I'll make a cut right here like this if you're going to do a bone in. Okay, if you're going to do a boneless, you can chase this, bring that back around to the knuckle, and this muscle group here pulls away very, very easily. You come in, you want to do about a 45-degree cut just ahead of that joint, and all you're doing is peeling this. Okay, and then you're going to follow the angle of that joint right around, come in and follow the bone. It's cold out here. So one of my projects from the farm is to get a full-blown cutting house, because we do so many deer, and get that taken care of. And this here you can use for your Asabuko. You can leave that on the bone if you want, and then debone at that joint right there. Come in, cut through your joint, just cut around it. Side tendons there, so it allows that joint to open up, and you'll be able to see that tendon right in there. And come in with your knife blade and trim that away, and that'll allow that joint to pop. If you cut the whole tendon through. Missed my cut because there's so much fat on it, but pull that bone right apart like that, come in, and then you could have your whole Asabuko leg to go into your crock pot and do it that way. Again, these little small ends here, I don't like to waste a lot of meat, but there's so many tendons in it, it's so tough. If you're doing a full Asabuko, it's not bad. Again, smoke them for dog bones, whatever you need to do. Trim this up. I like to give it 2 butterfly splits so I can kind of see and make sure I don't have any heavy tendons in there, and then cube these out. On some of those other bits from the roast, make really good make you some really good stew meat or shish kebabs as well. You marinate them up and run that. So I hope you guys enjoyed little trim session here, and I'm sure there'll be some more deer to come down the line. Like I said, we're going to be doing some summer sausage and bologna out of these, trail bologna out of these deer as well. So y'all take care. Again, Matt Thomas for MDE Outdoors. Remember, shoot straight and get your kids outdoors.